Grace and peace, everybody. We're back. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. You know what we're about to do. We're going to sit down and have a great conversation and talk about something that we haven't talked about a lot recently, but I would love to talk about it today. Fani Willis and the Trump RICO trial and all of those shenanigans like that. But thankfully, by God's grace, y'all, you do not have to listen to me because y'all know I'm a pre-K law student. I don't even know what I'm talking about, right? You don't have to listen to me. We have an expert, dare I say, an aficionado. The young lady has been talking about this on Instagram and TikTok, as well as on YouTube. Wonderful personality. So I'm going to go ahead. I know y'all ready. I know y'all want to see because y'all did not come here for me. I know. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad. We got Megan Grout in the building. How are you, Megan?
Hey, I'm great. How are you doing?
Quite well, quite well. Well, thank you so much for taking time today on this little cold day here in Georgia to come in. All right. So real quick, if you don't mind, tell us who Megan Grout is. How'd you get over here on these YouTube streets and TikTok social media platforms? Just real quick, who are you?
Sure. So I'm a criminal defense lawyer. My office is in Cobb County. I live in Fulton County. So the things that happen in Fulton and Cobb affect me personally and professionally.
I live in Cobb.
I love Cobb, love Fulton most of the time. And so been practicing private practice as a criminal lawyer for a bit now. And I started giving speeches to teenage boys kind of to pay it forward, to warn them about how they're going to get arrested if they don't behave. Some of the moms asked me to start making videos because they couldn't all attend these speeches. I ended up on social media because of that. And then the YSL trial rolled up. And
the
YSL trial that it sure did. And started making a little commentary on that. And then Trump case came out of nowhere, and the rest is history. It's been a lot of content here in Fulton County and Cobb County over the last couple of years on some pretty horrific things that are going on in the justice system.
Absolutely. And I mean, we could talk about several cases. I know that you've chimed in with the older Indian fellow that was being accused of kidnapping at Walmart. Nick Patel, thank you so much. Of course, what's been going on here in Cobb County as well as Fulton and Georgia in general. So we can talk about that. But I ask you to talk about the infamous RICO trial.
Yes.
All right. Can you give us a high view? Just give us a quick synopsis. What was it even about, for crying out loud?
Okay. Let me give you I'll give you the quick run through in the timeline. It really helps gel kind of what's going on. So back in 2020, when Trump lost the election, there was a lot of scuttle in Georgia about whether the election was stolen. Plenty of opinions out there for lots of people on whether that's true or not. Fani Willis, who is the district attorney of Fulton County, so the head prosecutor in Fulton County, took it upon herself to then bring state criminal charges against President Trump and I think it was 13 or 4, I can't even remember the number now, other defendants, saying that they had acted in a criminal manner in discussing whether or not they should question the election. And so this was unprecedented at the time. I mean, we've seen Letitia James in New York come after him too, but really this was headline making, not only because there was such strong opinions about Trump and the election, but because this had never been done before. And so what we know now, looking back on all of this, is she hired someone named Nathan Wade in 2021 to be her investigator and special assistant prosecutor on this case. And we also know now he was pretty well known in the legal fields, but he had no qualifications to try a felony case, much less arguably the biggest felony case in the entire country at the time. It was a big surprise to a lot of people. She indicted President Trump, meaning the charges were, up until then it had been investigative and things like that. In August of 2023, she actually filed the indictment saying, all right, here are the official RICO charges. All the charges below that, they call them predicate acts. Predicate acts just mean all the little things that you did that equal RICO in their eyes. She filed that indictment in August of 2023. Obviously, every one of these defendants, including Trump, had to lawyer up. And One of the co-defendants is someone named Michael Roman. Michael Roman wisely hired Ashley Merchant. And I always make it very clear to anybody listening to me, Ashley Merchant is a personal friend of mine. She is very dear to my heart. And so I'm a big supporter of hers. It's never been behind that. So Ashley Merchant, one of the things that lawyers spend a lot of time in court together chatting.
For sure.
Right? Yeah. And so, and it's a small legal field. And so rumors come out, things like that. And she caught a whiff of a rumor that Fani Willis was actually having an affair with Nathan Wade, which Ashley knew both of them personally. And she had actually helped Nathan run a campaign years before all of this. Nathan was married at the time.
Sure was.
So it was pretty big deal. And it wasn't just that she acted on a rumor. It was that she started to dig and realize this isn't just a rumor. There's a lot to substantiate that they're having an affair. And of course, Fani's the head prosecutor in this case against Donald Trump, and she's having an affair with her special assistant prosecutor. Obviously, impropriety, scream it from the rooftops, right?
For sure.
I mean, anybody, you don't have to be a lawyer to go, that does not compute. That is not acceptable. She does enough research to realize, yeah, this is actually substantiated. I can prove this with documents. Files a motion to have Fani Willis disqualified. That brings us to February of 2024. We all remember the pink dress, right?
Pink dress. Oh,
We
I should
remember
have had that video ready. Oh,
it's okay. It's okay. We all remember the big question, the question that may never be answered is, was it on backwards?
okay.
I mean, it looks like it to me as a woman that it's on backwards, but
Okay, if we could take a sidebar.
uh-huh.
Lady Dearwold Christian owns that dress. It was on correct. It's on correct.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So
My wife has a very. I'm assuming it's the exact same. I don't know designers. I don't know all that. But I
right.
looked in the closet. I'm like, that's the dress, and it is right. It has a. It's weird. It has a zipper in the front.
Okay, it does. It has like those weird little zippers that aren't decorative that made me think that it was on backwards.
No, this is yes. It's weird. My wife has a dress, so I'm sorry.
Okay. I trust her. I trust her. You've answered a question for the ages, so that's actually
Well, there you go.
breaking news right there. Huge news. So, and we remember she came in the courtroom all hot and bothered, very angry. Her demeanor was angry, I guess, as she was talking back to the judge. I mean, every lawyer in Georgia was like hiding under their desk going, good Lord, this is so bad.
Right.
She just didn't do herself any favors. And lawyers will be the first ones to tell you we make terrible witnesses because we think we know better. It never plays well in the end. And so, yeah, it was a bad day for her. Well, after she had that testimony and Nathan Wade had his testimony where he had the brain cloud for like 20 minutes because he couldn't remember if he'd ever been overnight in a cabin or whatever it was. The anger, the palpable anger that she had at Ashley Merchant during Ashley's cross-examination. If you have a viewer out there who hasn't seen it, they need to go find that on YouTube and watch it. It was wild.
It was.
And so anyway, that was the showdown of determining whether or not she should be disqualified. Scott McAfee is the judge in Fulton County who was handling the Trump case. So he was the one that had to make that decision. He issues an order after a little bit saying there is an odor of mendacity. The greatest phrase I think in there, which is a judge's way of saying, I smell lies. He couldn't go so far as to say you were lying, but he said, I smell them from where I'm sitting. Right. And he decided there was an appearance of impropriety. At the bare minimum, this does not look good. And so his remedy was to say, all right, one of you has to resign. So of course, Fani Willis isn't going to resign. So Nathan lickety split resigns thinking, okay, we're good now. We can move forward with the prosecution.
Right.
No. Because all the defendants, Ashley Merchant, Steve Sadow, who is the lawyer for Trump, and a whole bunch of other ones, said that's not good enough. Nathan Wade leaving is absolutely not good enough. They appealed. They asked the judge for permission to appeal to the Court of Appeals, and the judge said yes. So then we wait all the way to, I think it was December of 2024, where the Court of Appeals says, all right, there's an appearance of impropriety. They mentioned the odor of mendacity.
The odor of
and
mendacity.
They said, yes, so great, isn't it? Just rolls off the tongue. they said, you know what? They weren't going to make a huge ruling that says whenever there is an appearance of impropriety, a district attorney must be disqualified. They made it really narrow. They said, in this case, it has to be disqualification. And so they said, whoop, she's done. She's out. And so that was December of 2024. And I know that everybody's rolling their eyes going, good Lord, why does this stuff take so long? Well, it takes a really long time to work through the appeals process because Fani appealed to the Georgia Supreme Court and said, sure I'm not coming off this case. Hell no. Now we wait. Meanwhile, keep in mind, this whole thing, Trump's been reelected. The whole thing is just treading water, waiting to see what's going to happen. This past September, 2025, the Georgia Supreme Court said, we're not even going to hear this case. They didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Not all. Yeah. Can you blame them? Like everybody that touches this case is just, covered in garbage. So the Supreme Court said, no, we're not going to touch it. That means the Court of Appeals ruling stands, which is Fani Willis is disqualified. And you would think that would be the end of it? Nope. So what happens when a prosecutor is disqualified is the case goes to the Georgia PAC, PAC, which stands for Prosecuting Attorneys Council, which is like an umbrella organization that handles conflicts and things like that. And there's like a little side story here that somebody needs to really get into, because they found out end of September that Fani Willis knew, even middle September, that she was going to be disqualified, that the Georgia Supreme Court wasn't going to take it. She doesn't turn over her files until the end of October. All right. So we're talking about I think I counted, it's like 6 weeks that she, now I know it's going to take a minute to put all that stuff together, but she doesn't like to turn her files over. That she's already shown that a couple of times. And so Peter Skandalakis is the director of PAC. The judge wanted to know right away. The judge was like, who's going to take this case? Who's going to take this case? And he's like, look, I don't even have the files yet. There's nothing I can do. Eventually he says, all right, I'll appoint myself to be the temporary prosecutor because, shockingly, no other prosecutor in Georgia would take this case.
Amazing.
And I mean, I've talked about this before, and you can interrupt me anytime.
No, because I wanted to ask this, and you are given, and I apologize. If, like, for example, if they had moved it to Cobb County, I live here in Cobb County, the Justice Center, I drive by it every day. Would they have would Cobb County have to be willing to foot the bill to prosecute this? And then also, would Trump be coming, would I be seeing Trump at my Zaxby's or my...
So I don't think it would have, I think that it would have stayed in Fulton in terms of location and judge. There would have been a new team that would have come in to Fulton. And if you remember in the Arbery case, that god-awful case down in South Georgia, that was actually handled by a Cobb County prosecution team. But they went down there. The case didn't come up here.
Got it. Okay.
And so that they would have just come in like a substitution team, like, the second team on a football team to come in. Yeah. And so that's how it would have looked. But would it have cost Cobb County money? Yes. There's always those costs you don't see because those prosecutors aren't in Cobb doing what they're supposed to be doing. Those cases aren't moving. No matter which prosecutor it is, it's, they're going to end up in a bad position. But what I think is really interesting is if people thought that this prosecution was so important that if what she said in this indictment is true, shouldn't at least a Democrat prosecutor have wanted to pick up the baton and keep running? Why didn't they? What did they know?
I think we know what they know now for sure, but okay. All right. Oh, and actually bring us up to where we are today though. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I stopped you.
Sure. So Pete Skandalakis, he apparently got, I think he said like 100 and something banker boxes and an 8 terabyte drive. He said, I need some time. I got to sit down and figure out what I'm going to do with all this. He sat down, he looked at it, and he ended up filing a motion with Judge McAfee, a motion for a null pros. Null pros just means dismissal. And he attached a 22-page memo where he went through methodically everything in that indictment and said, this was bad, this was bad. He basically completely burned this indictment to the ground because
Wow.
so many things in there, he said either there were never crimes to begin with. He talked about people have First Amendment rights, and she had criminalized people's First Amendment rights, gone after attorney-client privilege documents that had never been published. And in the end, he said, I'm dismissing this. He did say a little bit of it could maybe end up in federal court, but we know that Jack Smith's already washed his hands of all of that. And so where it lies now, the case is done. There's a little technicality in Georgia that you can reinvigorate a case that's been null prossed within 6 months. I don't know anybody who thinks that's going to happen because no prosecutor
Nobody
wants
wants to
it.
touch it, right?
And he's the last man. Pete Scandalakis was the last man standing, and he said, I don't want it. So I think that we can say it's done. And now we're just digging through the aftermath, and the aftermath is going to be potentially just as bad as the trial itself was.
All right. So now we're here. So thank you so much for bringing us up to speed. Let me ask you this though, because I read a lot of the documents, a lot of the documents I've read on my show. And that's why I call myself a pre-K law student. Like, I don't know what I'm reading. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Sure.
One of the things that, as a former classroom teacher, that we always want our students to be is be very clear. If you say something, be clear. Little Johnny punched me. That's very clear. Not little Johnny hurt my feelings, or little Johnny's being. Be more specific. So when Judge McAfee said, the odor of mendacity or the appearance of an impropriety, would he have been better off by just saying there wasn't impropriety? There was something, I believe something was done wrong here. I like the odor of mendacity. Do you know where that came from, by the way?
I want to say a movie, but I don't know what movie.
It's a cat on a hot tin roof. Or
really?
Yeah. I'll find the clip. I have the clip somewhere, but it's in the movie. So anyway, but I digress. I like it. It sounds poetic, but he could have just said, this thing stinks to high heavens. You're wrong. She's wrong. Both of y'all need to get up out of here, rather than trying to do the split the baby thing, which didn't work anyway. So would it have been better if he had just been upfront and just said, this is bad business. You shouldn't have done this, and just threw it out back in April or whenever that was?
Yes, it would have been better.
It would have been better. Could he have done that? Is my question.
Yes. So I would say as a defense attorney, I mean, obviously they would have preferred something clearer like that. It would have, I don't know if it would have saved the litigation, but you're right. It would have been much clearer. The problem that we have, and this is where people hate lawyers, so forgive me. There is a difference between thinking someone's lying and being able to prove that someone is lying. Like, we can all sit around, go back and watch those videos from that day, that hearing, the pink dress. And everybody knows in their gut, they are not telling the truth, that there is so much more to this, that it's just laughable, a lot of this. But just because we all know in our gut that they're lying doesn't mean that it's provable that they are lying. And so for a judge to say, you lied on the stand, he's taking a big leap, because perjury in Georgia is a felony. So if he was saying you perjured yourself on the stand, he's accusing the district attorney and Nathan Wade of felonies. And I have never practiced in front of Judge McAfee. I've heard lots of very good things about him. And he's not stupid. And accusing them of that would have been a huge, brand new, just can of worms.
Got it.
So tap danced around it.
Okay. And by the way, if anybody's wondering what Megan and I are talking about, the infamous pink dress, I dropped the link down in the description. I'm sorry, in the chat. It's about 17 minutes of Fani Willis. Once you see it, you're going to know exactly what we're talking about. So even if you don't know what we're talking about, when you see the video, you'll be like, oh, this is what they're talking about, because everybody saw it. It was everywhere. Okay. So it is possible that Judge, I kind of feel like I know why he didn't do it. I agree with you. I feel it. You felt it. Everybody felt it, but you couldn't prove it. So don't put yourself in that position. I can dig that. So, but now we're here almost a year later. And what has happened now? Oh, don't forget our new Georgia law that came out. We got to talk about that law. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So again, I don't want to be too nerdy about this, but this is a really big deal. If you live really anywhere in Georgia, this is potentially could affect you. So this is what happened. And the lawmakers saw what was going on in Fulton County. This is no accident. And they created a new law that went into effect just back in May of this year. And what it says is, number one, if a district attorney is prosecuting a felony or misdemeanor and they're removed for improper conduct,
Right.
and then two, the subsequent prosecutor who takes the case over dismisses it, then the defendants in the case are entitled to claim attorney's fees back from the district attorney who got removed from her county. Okay, her, because we all know they were targeting Fani.
We know what they're talking about, right? We know that.
It's a Georgia law. It covers all 159 or whatever counties there are. But it's the rubber hits the road here in Fulton County, because now they have 45 days. These defendants have 45 days from the moment the case was dismissed, which was right when Scandalakis filed that motion and the judge signed it right away. That was right before Thanksgiving. So the clock started ticking in. The estimates, and I know that Stephen Sadow, who is President Trump's lawyer, has gone on the news and said, oh, we're seeking those. And he was, I think he said something around like maybe 5 million, but then you got to lump in all the other defendants. Right. So I've heard $10 million. So where it gets crazy, and I know, God, please forgive me, this is nerdy, but this statute's never been tested before.
Correct.
We don't know. Does improper conduct mean appearance of impropriety? There's a lot of questions. The statute says they shall be entitled to it, but can McAfee get around that? We're waiting to see.
And let's also keep in mind, Fani's budget was already in peril this season anyway. Don't quote me on it. She wanted like something like 50 something million. She only got 30. Yeah. And if Sadow gets 10% of that, she's already lost 30% of her budget from this alone. That's crazy.
Right. And I am sure that we're going to end up, just like I told you that whole story about the appellate process, I'm sure we're going to see it again. There's questions about, I mean, I'm nerding out looking at the statute going, does Fani even have a right? She's not the prosecutor anymore. Does she have a right to object? But it is her budget that would get dinged. So I don't know. I have questions with no answers there. But the thing that really bothers me about all of this as a Fulton County resident is Fani Willis loves to toot her own horn about all the wonderful things she's done in Fulton, moving people out of the jail in Rice Street, which is, I mean, a good thing, because that jail is disgusting, is the nicest thing I can think to say.
Right.
Talked about getting rid of cases. The crime rate went down for her, all because of her. Okay. Right. So if that's true, and if she has to pay X millions of dollars out of her own budget, and it bites into all the things she's been doing, isn't that her fault too then?
Yeah. Can I ask a question about that then? Okay. It seems like Fani is prone to RICO, because I'm sure you were here with the infamous Atlanta cheating scandal. Yep. And such of that nature. She's prone. Did she just overkick her coverage? Could she have maybe, personally, I don't think anything that happened with the Trump interference was actually a crime. But could she have just started out with something smaller and said, hey, you were interfering with the count because you called Roethlisberger or something of that nature? But she went for the big gusto, the Hail Mary, at the end of the fourth quarter, and totally missed it. Is it because of that, or is she just too prone for RICO?
That's an excellent question. And a lot of people have been talking about how she could go so far off the rails. You mentioned the Atlanta cheating scandal. A lot of defense attorneys that I'm friends with have had cases with Fani back when she was a prosecutor in Fulton, and said she was an excellent prosecutor. Can't say that necessarily about some other district attorneys in our local area, but she had the street cred. And so a lot of people are wondering what happened, but she went from being a very intelligent, credible prosecutor to this massive ego move once she became the elected district attorney. A lot of people are wondering what she was thinking. With regard to RICO, first of all, she went after Young Thug, right? I mean, that's headline grabbing. She went after Donald Trump, headline grab, basically all at the same time.
Yep.
And it does, these RICO cases are so large and cumbersome. When you're talking about 20 defendants or 15 defendants,
Crazy.
they take forever. They're very expensive on both sides. You're asking the right question, which is, why didn't she start? First of all, if she hadn't indicted Donald Trump with the rest of them, would we even be talking about this right now?
We would not be here.
Of course. And RICO statutes in Georgia are actually a little bit longer than that. They're at 5 years, plus we've got some little stays because of COVID and other things that might have given her even more time. And I wonder, from my standpoint strategically, why she didn't maybe pluck off some of the smaller ones and get, get people on her side. You got to testify truthfully. A lot of people that plead, one of the things they have to do is testify truthfully. It's part of the deal.
Right.
And set it up so that if she wanted to go after Trump, she did so after she had a baseline of enough people on her side, maybe defendants that were going to testify. Same with YSL. If she was so worried about the murder of Donovan Nutt Thomas, why didn't she concentrate on that instead of trying to bring in so much ridiculousness and make it look like she's just targeting a successful rap artist so she can be on the news?
I
don't have an answer.
And I personally believe, again, I've went to court. I sat in one Charlie and of such of that nature. I really believe she could have gotten far more convictions if she had just broke that thing up and just hit each one of them respectfully. I think she would have got much more convictions that stuck, rather than, when the smoke cleared, nobody is guilty for Donovan Thomas's deletion.
Right.
And she promised the family that, and nobody's in jail for that. They're in jail for a whole myriad of other things, but that's not that at all. So,
and I think she lost, and I believe this may have happened with the Trump case as well, if that had ever gotten to trial, which is when you drag a jury through a trial that lasts months and months and months, and they are witness to unprepared foolishness, like we saw time and time again in the YSL trial.
Stop talking about Adrian Love. Stop talking about Adrian Love. Don't say Adrian Love's name. We know who you're talking about. You're breaking up. Your audio's muted. What happened to your audio? You're muted for some reason. How'd you mute yourself? Uh-oh. We got some technical difficulties. I don't know what happened. You're muted. It says you're muted on your side. I'm going to put you out for a second. Hold on one second. All right. So it looks like my guest, we have a little bit of technical difficulty. Thank y'all so much for tapping in. We got Megan Grout. She's a defense attorney here in Atlanta. We're talking about the Trump interference trial, and it looks like she's back. She's got it back. So let's bring her back in.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's everybody's dream to mute a lawyer. I think you just had the best day of your life, right?
Well, I like how you did that. I like how you did that. That's well done. Okay, so don't be talking about Adrian Love. We know what you're talking about. Okay.
So yeah, I didn't mention her name, but jurors see through that stuff. They get angry that they're being held there for ridiculous reasons. You bring them in, you try a clean case. They listen to the evidence. They render their verdict and they're done. And I think we could have seen the same thing happen in the Trump case. You drag a bunch of foolishness out in front of people who have to give up their lives to sit in a jury box for months at a time. You better do it right. And they didn't.
Wow. All right. So let me ask you this question. So we know that at the current moment, Fani Willis has been disqualified. Nate has been disqualified. The Trump case has been dismissed. So following the Georgia law, Trump can now seek some kind of compensation from the prosecution. Let me ask you this question before I do that. Is this common that prosecutors get removed off of cases? Because it does, let me just tell the truth. I do think they made this law for Fani. I do think they did that.
I think I did too.
Okay. No, don't tell anybody, just between me and you.
Yeah, just between you and me, right?
Right. But okay, so I was like, is this a common thing that prosecutors get dismissed off cases? Okay, so
no,
it's not.
It's not. And sometimes we see conflicts where for maybe they know the victim or the victim used to work at a district attorney's office or their family members. It's standard stuff like that. That's why PAC exists in the first place, is to handle those things. So it's good that that exists. But over salacious stuff like this, no, it is very uncommon.
Got it. Okay. So in your estimation, well, first of all, do you think, just your own little understanding, do you think that Trump is going to get paid back, or yay or nay? Just from what you understand so far.
Okay. So I'll say it this way. I think he should. I think that, so the big question is what the statute says: improper conduct. And they're going to raise all sorts of, objections saying it was just an appearance of impropriety.
Right.
But my question to that is, so what exactly do you have to do as a prosecutor to be punished? I mean, there's Brady violations, they do stuff with evidence and stuff like that. But it wasn't that hard to not screw this part up, to me. She's already hired a man that's not fully qualified. She's paid him $750-something thousand already under the spotlight for bad judgment. You're going to have an affair with him too? I mean, we have to be able to trust our prosecutors. Prosecutors put people in jail. They take away our liberty. We have to be able to trust them to make, even if we don't agree with their judgment, at least it's a professional judgment.
For sure.
We lost all of that here. She's not trustworthy anymore. Nobody trusts her because she's shown her bad judgment and let it be splashed across the headlines.
I got you. All right. So I want to take a question, and now shout out to President Not Perfect. Now, he's asking a question. I think you kind of already addressed this part, but I do want to say, because I kind of threw it out to you earlier while we were planning. Do you think Fani Willis and Nathan Wade will lose their bar licenses?
I don't think so.
Okay.
At least not anytime soon, because again, they were in a very gray area where our gut tells us this is wrong. But I don't think that the state bar is going to step in anytime soon to disbar them. What they've done is, there's plenty of adjectives out there for it. And then this attorney's fees issue is going to potentially cost Fulton County taxpayers tens of millions of dollars.
For sure. But
it doesn't fall, I don't think, within those rules of professional conduct. The rules that cover prosecutors are very minimal. And the state bar doesn't step in like a police agency and just go out and kick you out. It's much more difficult than that. If they were found guilty of a crime, then yes, they could be disbarred.
But not for what we're talking about this current moment. The odor of mendacity is not enough to get them put out on the street. Well, let me ask you that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know of people who actually have lost the bar license, and what did they lose it for?
Yes, I do. The biggest
crimes?
Rarely. The biggest mistakes that lawyers make is messing with their clients' money. Number one, hands down, top of the line. You get like the Murdoch case, in South Carolina.
Yes. Okay,
where
I remember that.
He was found guilty of his unaliving his wife and son. One of the things that he had been doing is, as a personal injury lawyer, he had been taking in settlements for his clients and then keeping the money and not giving it to his clients. So when lawyers do things like that, they are holding money in trust, and they mess with it. They commingle their own funds with it. That is the fastest way to get disbarred, because it is just absolutely, objectively not acceptable. Other things like, sometimes we see lawyers that, for whatever reason, they mess up a client's case, not like they didn't argue it well, but like missed deadlines, didn't show up for court, did really terrible things where the client was they were damaged. Their case was damaged because their lawyer was just checked out. Those lawyers get disbarred too, and they should, because they can't be trusted.
Okay. So it's fair to say then that they're probably not. Now, is there any other kind of, losing your bar license is the absolute nuclear option. Are
for
there
lawyers,
anything?
yes.
That's the worst thing that could happen to a lawyer. Are there anything else that you see, like sanctions, loser, not able to practice for a couple of months, like during the YSL trial, the gentleman that lost his ability to practice for 6 months.
Right.
Do you see something else happening in their future, or probably not at all?
I don't think so. The bar can do all sorts of disbarment's not their only option. I mean, they
For
can
sure.
public reprimand, they can suspend, like you said.
Suspended, right?
I don't see the bar getting involved. Somebody tried back in
Hmm.
2024 when this all broke open
Yep.
to file a bar complaint, and it didn't go anywhere. I looked for it to see if I could find something, and I couldn't find anything. So I think that avenue's been tried. There are other possibilities out there. Excuse me. There's something called the PAC QC, which is brand new in Georgia too. It is this organization when there are complaints specifically against prosecutors that they can investigate. I don't know. They hold stuff pretty close to the vest. I don't know if they're investigating Fani Willis with regard to anything with the Trump case. We know the DOJ is looking into Fani
Oh
too.
yeah,
So
yeah. She might have some other
that's
problems, right?
that's another issue that might be coming around the bend.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right, let me see. Did I have any other questions? By the way, everybody, if you're wondering, I have Megan Grout here, who is a defense attorney here in Georgia. We've been talking about the Trump interference case that's been dismissed, what's going to be the fallout of that, and so on and so forth of that nature. And you kind of already assumed or kind of alluded to, in your estimation, this is going to Trump's not going to get paid tomorrow, right? Is that if they decide, even if they decide that they get the money, you get $5 million, it's going to be a little while before that money comes back to his coffers. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's absolutely fair. Right now, we're just waiting for them to file their claims. Then we got to see what the judge wants to do. And then we're going to have to wait on all the people that are going to want to appeal it. So yeah, if he has it in a year, I'd be surprised. I hope I'm wrong, but that's what I say.
Oh, you know what? Help us out here. Help us out. Thank you for bringing that up. We're just the hoi polloi. We're just the normal people. Why does everything in trial and court take so long? Good gracious, man. Why does everything take so long? Hurry up and wait.
I think every client I have to counsel them, be prepared to wait. And that's the hardest thing when you've got something hanging over your head, right? Because you're trying to live your life, and a lot of people can't find jobs just because they got arrested. So it takes a long time for a district attorney to indict. Most felonies, they have 4 years to indict a case. All right. So from the time you are arrested, you bond out right away, 4 years. Not everybody takes 4 years, but I always say, at least a couple. So there's that. Then there's did you give me all the evidence? Why don't I have all the evidence? We go through that fight with the state. That takes forever. Then a judge, think about this. Like the average judge has maybe 100 cases. I'm being kind to the judges. A lot of them have more than 100 criminal cases on their calendar on any given month. They have maybe one trial week. So
wait, did you say a month?
One trial week a month, usually for criminal cases. Yeah, maybe two.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Because they have to handle civil cases too. So they've got all of us on one side, and then they've got all the civil lawyers, the divorce, the personal injury lawsuits, the corporations fighting with each other. They got to hear all that stuff too. And they usually only have 2 weeks out of every month to get those trials done.
Wow.
And then the appeals process.
Oh, they've got to appeal.
Yep, which takes forever. A couple more years, easy.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Okay. Now I kind of feel bad for him now. Wow. Okay.
When you think about these defendants, the ones that don't have Trump money, that were dragged through all of this and had to pay out that money, up until we just got this law, they never would have gotten that money back, no matter what. And so at least there's a glimmer of hope for them. But nobody saves money in case they need a criminal defense lawyer. We don't have criminal defense insurance. And so for a lot of people, even low-level felonies, I mean, it can really rock your world to have to hire a lawyer.
I got you. Okay. Well, here, I'm going to pull in real quick. I got a quick segment from the Atlanta News. I'm sorry, 11 Alive here in Atlanta. We're going to check it out real quick and just kind of see if there's any other questions that pop up and such of that nature. Let's bring this in.
Well, this was a case in a presidential mugshot seen around the world. And now, for the first time since charges were dropped in the Fulton County election interference case, President Donald Trump's Georgia attorney, Steve Sadow, is speaking out. In an interview you'll only see right here on 11 Alive, I sat down with Mr. Sadow for insight into the case. In this portion of our conversation, I asked him what he would ask District Attorney Fani Willis, the prosecutor who brought the charges and was ultimately disqualified.
If you could ask her a question about how she handled the case, what would you ask her?
Why she didn't take into consideration all the meritorious, substantive points that were made even before I got involved in the case. And while I think she always tries to exercise good judgment, it was so poorly done here with her affair with the prosecutor that she appointed to handle the case. I'd like to know how in the world she thought that would be justifiable, or did she think it was just going to remain a secret forever?
Now, there's some people who look at this case now being dismissed as justice not served. Some people feel that the president and his co-defendants listed did deserve some type of punishment. What is your message to them?
This case was won on many levels. Ultimately, of course, it was dismissed by the judge upon motion of the new prosecutor. But people tended to judge this case without knowing all the evidence, without seeing any of the witnesses. And to be perfectly honest, they just don't understand that the mere fact that someone exercises their First Amendment right to speak or says something that they're in disagreement with doesn't give rise to a criminal prosecution, particularly against the former president of the United States. It's just not a situation we should find ourselves in.
Now, this was just a portion of our interview. We'll be posting the full thing on 11alive.com. Mr. Sadow was hired to defend President Trump in 2023. And coming up at 6 o'clock, I asked him how much money he is going to be seeking in legal fees on behalf of President Trump as part of a new state law that was passed and went into effect this year, allowing those defendants to seek legal fees from the office of prosecutors that were disqualified from that case.
All right. Okay, so let me ask a question. If Nathan, let's say everything stayed the same, but Nathan was just an underling and not running point on the trial, and she just kept him, not a paralegal, but somehow or another he was associated with it still.
Right.
Do you foresee that this would have gone this way? Or do you think it's really the fact that she had him out in the forefront running point, and that's really what messed him up?
I think you're hitting on exactly what it was. It was that he was out in the forefront. He was paid $700 and something, $50,000. And the thing that's kind of mind blowing, because I do know many prosecutors that have come out of Fulton County, she had a lot of very qualified, smart people on her staff that could have handled this case. And I'm sure she could say, well, they were busy. Well, I mean, you shut down a whole courtroom over this case regardless. You did it with YSL. There were really good people that she could have put on point for this case. And they could be headed to trial right now. This case imploded because she hired her boyfriend. She paid an exorbitant amount of money to him. He wasn't qualified, and she got found out. I mean, these are all mistakes that can only be laid at her feet. She might hate Ashley Merchant for finding all this stuff out, but she's the one that made all the mistakes.
Yeah, I don't know another way to try to figure that one out. I can't square that peg any other way. So I'm right there with you. I guess even with the mistakes that Scandalakis found, and if those, let's say those had never come to light, it was just the point. Because again, I think that is, I remember almost where I was when I first heard that story. Like, that's how crazy it was. I remember where I was when I heard that story. I was like, that's the craziest thing ever. What is this? And then, so if Nate had not been on point and the case had gone forward and still those same problems you think that Scandalakis identified, they probably would just be wrangling over those or fighting over those or whatnot. But the case would have gone on.
Yes, I think we would have seen the next YSL trial. I think we would have all been glued to Law and Order watching. And I, part of me, like, there's this little part of me that wishes that it.
You did it again. You muted yourself. I don't think you like me. I think deep down inside, y'all put in the chat. Y'all tell Megan, like Jason.
Wait,
Jason's
no,
a good
I'm
guy.
back. Did it work?
Oh, there she is. Okay, here we go. They didn't even have time to even.
I'm going to sit real still. I'm very sorry. I'm not this technology is not my thing. It's hats.
It's hats.
Yes. What were we saying?
YSL trial 2.0.
Oh, right. Yeah. So I think that it would have been exactly right. YSL trial 2.0. And it would have been good in the sense that because I don't think a lot of people are going to read Skandalakis's memo where he lays out all the bad things that were in this indictment. But I think that any American is going to have a bit of a concern when they find out that having a discussion with your lawyer, could we do this? Could we do that? Can we object to the election this way? What does the law say? Criminalizing that behavior is terrifying. It's terrifying to lawyers. So it would have been YSL 2.0 if it had gone forward.
And just in case, if anybody doesn't know what we mean by, we might be jumping over your head by saying YSL. That's the Young Thug, Young Slime Life trial that was here in Atlanta. That was, I believe it is, the longest running and most expensive trial in Georgia history. Yeah, in Georgia history. And it was the Young Thug trial. You might hear it called the Young Thug trial as well. And it was a RICO trial of RICO trials, for crying out loud. It took them a year to select a jury. So just let that sink in, right?
It was not Fulton County's proudest moment, I will say that. And unfortunately, it got displayed for the nation to see.
It wasn't Georgia's finest moment at all, by any means or measures. Okay, you're sitting out. You like coffee, or you like tea, or all right. You're all right. You're having your favorite beverage at your favorite coffee spot somewhere, maybe in the Marietta Square. I don't know. Yeah. All right. And you run into Fani Willis. What are you going to say to her?
I don't think she's talking to me. So
I vouch for you. I think you're a good person. So I vouch for you.
So if she was willing to talk to me, I do have some questions. To me, one of the things that's really big to me in all of this is that she's never taken responsibility for the mistakes. Right. She has said, she got up on a church pew at Martin Luther King and said, she was being targeted because it was a racist thing, that it was a MAGA thing. Again, these are mistakes that she personally made. The Nathan thing, the indictment being so broad and so badly done, she owes the taxpayers of Fulton County some type of explanation, and not one where she points fingers at other people, where she says, hey, look, I screwed this up. I did this, this, and this wrong. I take responsibility for that. Being a district attorney is a privilege. Yeah. You are, not only because you were being paid a lot of money and being given a lot of power, the voters trusted you to do things the right way, and you didn't. And you owe them that explanation. And my other question, I guess, goes to, I'm one of a million people in Fulton County. Do we trust her now? Do we trust her to be the person that should be district attorney? Is she really our best choice now in all of Fulton County? I can't imagine there's not a better choice.
Right. No, I like it. I like it. All right. So somehow or another, we've kind of gotten them, we've merged the two. So we might as well just talk about it. Okay. How do you feel that Fulton County messed up the YSL trial?
Oh, gosh. First thing, way too big. Way too big.
It was 28 defendants when it started.
Right.
Yeah, so 28, too shy of 30.
Think about that from just a practical standpoint, from a courtroom. Do you all remember how many lawyers were jammed into that courtroom? And then remember, every lawyer gets to cross-examine every witness, right? Mm-hmm. So even if there were 5 witnesses in this case, it was going to be just absolute chaos. All the objections, remember every time Brian Steele stood up and all that other stuff. So first of all, they made it way too big. Second of all, watching it, I didn't watch every minute of it, but the DAs looked unprepared. It was like they made an indictment and then they said, all right, now we're going to have to figure out what to do, as opposed to saying, here's the evidence, here's the indictment. It was like they were putting stuff together on the fly. Adrienne Love, who I do not know, did not have her best show in that trial. She always looked very angry and very unprepared. And as a lawyer that practices in Cobb, I will tell you, with some exceptions, most of the ADAs that I practice with are very well prepared. Gotcha. And very easy to work with. So it was just, I think that the YSL trial and the Fulton, the Trump trial come back to an ego thing of, I'm going to make headlines and worry about the rest later. And it's backfired twice now.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also there's another question. And yeah, this is the trial where the judge had the ex parte meeting with Woody, who little Woody,
And actually, I'll tell you a funny story. I've never told this to anybody before, but they actually, Fulton County called me and asked me to be Woody's lawyer.
Oh,
And I said, nope. Thank you. And a colleague of mine ended up being his lawyer that I had recommended to them. It was kind of a weird situation. But yes, that was where he had been brought in. They were strong arming him.
oh yeah.
And we saw it happen. First of all, for those that haven't seen Woody's testimony, and it is, I'm not saying this as a lawyer, I'm saying this as a person. It is so incredibly entertaining to watch because this is a guy who flummoxed professional prosecutors by just like, why are you shrugging your shoulders? Because they're my shoulders. Like he was genius in the way he handled this. Highly recommend watching it. Highly.
I mean, we actually had emojis on my channel for Woody specifically. I'm trying to see. I don't think we have any more. I think like there's the I object. We had the what do you mean? We had literally had a Woody emoji on my channel for the longest because he was such a he was he was a meme over here. So
100%. And when you think about people that aren't used to being like in trial and stuff like that, being on a witness stand when you're being live streamed and the whole world is watching can be incredibly intimidating. He was not intimidated at all. He owned that witness stand and the prosecutors, they met their match with him. And I was so impressed by the way he handled it all. It was pretty amazing.
let me see. I love it. Let's see if we got any others. Okay. Oh, by the way, if I would love for you all to go, please check out Megan's channel, of course. Check out Megan Grout's channel. And the link here is the most recent video where she kind of explains and teases out a little bit more robustly whether or not Nathan and Fani will be disbarred. She answers some questions. So check it out. Make sure you watch the video, like it, drop her some green hearts, let her know we really appreciate her, and thank her for coming through. Okay, now I don't see this question in here, but I'm pretty sure that I just need to type it. What is that baseball cap about? What is that? Because somebody mentioned it earlier. They called it, hold on. Is it, I saw it on here. Is it the Whalers or?
It is. Right there. It is. The Whalers hat. Oh my gosh.
There it is right there.
Said that. Shout, Whalers in the house. Oh my God. That makes me feel so good. Okay.
What is that?
I'm from Hartford. I was born and raised in Hartford. The Hartford Whalers is a hockey team, now defunct hockey team. So long gone. But I grew up going to Whalers games with my dad.
Nice.
That was like our thing. And so I've been an ice hockey fan my whole life. I even managed the ice hockey team for a little while when I was in college. And so there is no Whalers team, but we have our hats. And so this is my shout out to my hometown.
Okay. Well, there we go. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. I saw somebody mention it. I said, I'm going to ask. And by the way, I do think that Megan has more baseball caps than me. I don't have it on authority. But if you look at her TikTok, you don't see a lot of repeat hats, unlike myself. So I
got to say, though, that is a fabulous hat that you have right there. I don't have any personalized hats. I think that you're showing me up a little bit here. I think the gauntlet has been laid down. So now I got to get one.
We'll make sure that happens. We'll make sure that happens. I have another one as well. I have a black one. I like hats. I like hats. And some reason or another, I'm prone to triple black hats. So, like, matter of fact, I have like a triple black sweatshirt on right now.
I love that. Well, very nice. And as a woman of a certain age, black is always very slimming. So I'm a big fan.
Well, there you go. And so I have my other one as well.
Oh, nice.
But this was not murdered out. So I'm planning on getting a black on black one as well. But now we're just being nerdy. All right, let me make sure I got everybody's questions in here. Megan, we used to have a hockey team called the Atlanta Flames?
Yeah, a long time ago. Calgary Flames. Yeah, that's right.
No, what was it? There used to be the Thrashers. We had the Thrashers here, though.
Right, but this was even before. This was long before that.
Ooh,
long before that. So yeah, I am so old. This is how old I am for the hockey fans out there. That I went to Whalers games before they were in the NHL. Back a long time ago when Gordy, before they became, there was hockey professional teams before the NHL was made. So I know all about, the Hartford Whalers, the Bruins, the teams that came from San Antonio. Gordie Howe and his sons came. I could go all day about this only because
Wow.
my dad took me
Yeah,
to these
shout out to
games.
Pops.
So those are the happy memories you have, growing up and being able to go to sporting events with your family. So
I love it. Okay. And I apologize. CMT asked this question earlier. How much will her Fulton County bond cover in the lawsuits?
So the lawsuits is kind of, there's kind of different ways we could see lawsuits. With regard to the fees that we were talking about, the statute actually says it has to come out of her budget. So, and like you mentioned that she kind of got in a fight with the Fulton County Commission saying she didn't have enough money. Depending on how this plays out, boy, that's going to be a really fun conversation between the district attorney's office in Fulton County. And I will tell people this, if they're ever interested, if you really want to dig, Fulton County has open checkbook. You can go search Google Fulton County government. You can look at some of the stuff that they spend money on. You can see it with your own eyes. You don't have to be a lawyer. And you can look at who they pay checks to. That is a rabbit hole that I spent a lot of time in that rabbit hole.
Okay. All right. Open checkbook. Now, somebody said that hockey before NHL is blasphemy. They said it's not real. Uh-oh.
No, it's real. It's a real thing. You can go back and look. The Whalers were called the New England Whalers before they were called the Hartford Whalers. I can't believe I'm talking about this. This is hilarious. This is
now I know. I didn't know that we could talk about this. There we go.
I think it was called the WHA. I think they can go look that up before the NHL.
Interesting. Okay.
I think it's called the WHA.
Wait, if you want to go to a hockey game, you can go watch the Gwinnett Gladiators. That's another one, Gwinnett Gladiators.
Yep, I've heard they're great.
They are great? Okay. I don't really want to, but I told my daughters we might go down to Savannah and watch the Savannah Bananas, that little baseball team. It's like if you're not familiar, I equate to like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
Yes.
It just seemed like they look hilarious. And I said, we should go down there one day and watch that. Go ahead.
I've heard that they're like sold out for months, that they're so popular now. But I also remember the Harlem Globetrotters when Curly was on. That's again how old I saw the Harlem Globetrotters back when Curly was on it. Yeah. In like the 80s, I guess it had to have been the early 80s. So yes, Savannah Bananas I've heard is amazing. And then there is another minor league hockey team in Athens, Georgia, called the Rock Lobsters, named after the B-52 song. And wait, it gets even better. Their fan club is called the Crustacean Nation. How great is that?
You know what? I love it. Now, if my daughter had gone to Athens, I would go up there, but she decided to go up to North Carolina. So,
well, that's okay. It's all right. North Carolina's beautiful. I'm sure she made a great choice. Where does she go to school? If you want to tell me.
She's at Duke.
Oh.
But
you must be so disappointed.
I am, because you know how far away I have to go get her? Like,
my son's at Texas A&M. You preach. I know.
Come on, what are you doing? Like,
that's a lot of gas.
If you were down the street around the corner at Athens, you could come home every weekend. Right. I wouldn't want you to, but you could.
Right. So, well, anyway. I'm sure she's disappointed her family going to Duke and all. It's terrible.
No, she's texted me. She literally has texted me since we've been here.
Oh, wow.
She calls me a lot. Does your son call you? What year is he, if you don't mind me asking?
He is in his first senior year. There'll be another one. Texas A&M is a little too fun. He's in the bonfire crew. They build that big bonfire that they light on fire before they didn't go so well against Texas this year. But so he's at Texas. And then I've got a daughter who's in law school in Kentucky. Okay. Actually.
Well, congratulations. But so mine, I was bringing that up because I said mine calls me every day. Like I talk to her literally every day. She calls me or texts me. She'll call or text me pretty much every day. Anyway, I was just wondering if that's a thing, but I think it's just her.
It's her. My son calls me when he needs money. God bless him. I hope he doesn't ever see this. I love you, but he only calls me when he needs money or when he wants to ask.
Mine calls her mom. Mine calls her mom when she needs money. If she calls me for money, she's really hard up, or my wife is in a meeting. She's really hard up, and the Uber driver is like pulling down the street or something like that. She's like, "Dad, can I have some money?" Like, whatever, kid.
Right.
So but usually it's my wife. But okay, well, Megan, I thank you so much. I really
this is fun.
Yeah. Now, if you ever want to talk about any other cases, you're welcome. If you want to talk about some other shenanigans, you want to come over here and unpack some shenanigans because we've been talking about the Candace Owens trial and the Macron trial going on in Delaware. If you ever want to come and talk about that, you're welcome.
That is, I don't even know if I would have words for how insane that all is, but it's actually happening in real. I mean, it's so, I will say this. I heard people talk about conspiracy theories and how they don't believe them and people are ridiculous. I heard a comedian on a social media platform say, if you don't believe in conspiracy theories, that means you believe that the government has never lied to you one time. And that lives in my head rent free a lot.
Got you. No, I believe they lied to us. But like, if we look at what's going on with the Macron case and Candace, not all of the things that's happened with Candace and here stateside with TPUSA, Charlie Kirk, we don't even have to deal with that. The Macron case and Candace, that's just such deep comedy. It's such good comedy.
They're giving us a lot of comedy these days. All these government officials, they're just low hanging fruit.
That they are. But yeah, I thank you so much. If you ever want to come back, or if something else new happens, if we find out Fani is, found that cash under the mattress or wherever else she was.
It's in a cabin somewhere.
It's in the cabin. But you are more than welcome to come back. I appreciate
Thank you. I enjoyed it. I really appreciate your hospitality. It's been wonderful.
No problem. If the moderators can please just make sure real quick that everybody has access to Megan's YouTube channel. I would love for y'all to go check out what she's doing. She does a fantastic job of giving. I believe you put the cookies on a nice shelf that everybody can understand and everybody can pick up. You're not super nerdy. You're not over kicking us pre-K law students. You're keeping it somewhere we can kind of understand and process. And I think that's the reason I wanted to reach out to you, because I was like, oh, I get what she's talking about. I understand the lion's share of what you're saying. I thought that my audience would really would encourage that. So I think that is it. It looks like we're good. So I want you to go. What you got going on the rest of the day? You gonna go put somebody in jail or get somebody off? What are you doing?
No, I get them out of jail. Don't be saying I'm putting people in jail.
Yeah, I'm sorry you said it backwards. Sorry.
I'm working on an appeal brief, which is about as unfun as anything can be for the rest of the day. It's like writing a 35-page paper. So that's what I get to do for the rest of the day. See,
that's what I'm talking about. It takes too long. Like, it just takes too long, man. Get that appeal brief done. But
yes, sir.
Here's Megan's channel. Y'all go check out her channel. The most recent video she did where she really explains Nathan and Fani Willis and whether or not they'll be disbarred and what are the implications thereof. She did a great job on it. So I really think y'all will like it. So check out what she's doing real quick. What do you have here? Thanks for coming by. There we go. Don't know much about this, but I enjoyed it. Well, see, that's what I'm saying.
I'm glad.
There you go.
We want to make it accessible to everyone.
I love it. Well, Megan, I'm going to drop you back real quick. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, and I'll be right back. Thank you. Well, thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. That was a lot of fun, y'all. Appreciate you. If you could, please go by Megan's channel. Make sure you check out what she's doing. She's doing an excellent job. And I think if you are interested in law or you're kind of pricked by that, this will be a good person to follow, especially with other cases that come up. I know she talks a lot about cases here in Georgia, but I'm sure she'll be talking about other cases abroad as well as time permits. So anyway, thank y'all so much for rocking with us. Everybody have a fantastic rest of the day. And y'all know we'll be back at 5 for Candace. So I'll see y'all then. Grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.